gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. As you can tell, guys, we are taking a look at the Pit of Judgment. And the one thing is, this box is too good to not show off, okay? The figures, we'll get to them, just be patient with me. Not only is the front amazing, but you can see the top, very sick. I love the side because it's keeping with the whole animation aesthetic that you'd see in the movies, even like the outside like ground spikes and stuff. But on the back, this thing may not be called Studio Series, but trust me, it essentially is. So guys, buckle up because we're going to be taking a look at every bouncer, Baliff, and buttface. And trust me, with a judge that has 5 of them, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. But don't worry guys, because I will make sure that it is worth your while. So starting off, we're actually taking a look at one of the Quintessons drones. And yes, I know this guy is not technically part of the set, but here's the thing guys, we're doing the Quintessons, so why not? Now one thing that I'm gonna say that I've always liked is the bits of green on this, because this just screams like nuclear, radioactive, like destructor cannon, which I'm digging that. And with like the cannon, I love that fade, and the dinginess matches the rest of the vehicle, which, you know, if you guys loved the Siege battle damage, you're gonna love this figure. However, if you hated it, I can see why you might pass on it. However, because of where it does come from, when you look at robot mode, it is pretty inescapable that yes, it is just an Ironhide, which, you know, when looking at this, especially for vehicle or, you know, or for robot mode, there's just something that I don't know what it is. I think the reason I like it is most well said by the Rolling Stones.
I see a line of cars and they are painted black.
But other than that guys, it does kind of just enhance the overall vibe of the set when you're able to include it alongside the Allicons and the Baliffs and such. So anyway, moving on from these bouncers, we look at Sharkticon. This guy, whoo boy, okay. So it is a little surprising with this that this guy is really off on his colors. The inescapable truth of this is that this guy, even though his design, it's very dumpy. And at such a small size, I can kind of see why it is. I mean, overall, there are some touchstones that are very good, but you got to think in mind why this guy was included with the set. That it puts him in scale with the other figures that come with it. Plus, you know, he had to fit in this small little cardboard diorama down here with other Sharkticons. But the one thing is that while he does work well with the diorama, when you have like other scenes, like, you know, one of my favorite is like the Demolition Derby, whenever Hot Rod and Cup are, you know, squaring off with the Sharkticons and the Dinobots have to come in and save the day. At that point, they are maybe a little bit too small with Cup and Hot Rod, but with Grimlock, that's actually about right. I've never been the biggest fan of Sharkticon, and he just happens to come in the set. And like we'll see later on, he helps fill it out in a certain way. So that's why I'm not too mad. But again, he's not my most favorite part of the set either. And so here is our boy, Kranix, standing on the Quintesson dive board. And every time I go to try to move his arms, these thin areas are like bending, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I just need to stop right there. Maybe he is nothing more than just a small plastic statue. Which, I mean, really, what more do you want from Kranix? And as far as the Prosecutor goes, really all this guy, he can really do is you can turn his head, which, you know, and then you can take, you know, floating effect off, which I'm not sure why you would, but, you know, you can. And, like, even though it's just a set piece, it's a really good representation. So, guys, this is actually what the Quintesson Judge's alternate base mode is supposed to do, is obviously because it was released in conjunction with the Earthrise line. It was meant to, you know, connect to the other bases and stuff. Although, I gotta be honest with you guys, I feel that the Quintesson's, you know, whole design aesthetic, it doesn't exactly jam too well with ones like you see here with Astrotrain's platform. Now, another weird thing is when you look at it, the way that it's structured and stuff, it looks like part of it is an elevator that maybe, you know, is leading Kranix down to his jail cell, you know, where he's awaiting execution. I gotta be honest, him turning into the jail cell doesn't make a ton of logical sense. Although, to be fair, had he not transformed, we probably would be griping, oh my god, why didn't they do something more creative with this? You know, we'd be griping about that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit shaky, but okay, at least it's something, right? So here, guys, we are taking a look at this guy in his more recognizable form, and there's a lot to go over, so let's just try to get through it. One of the things that I will mention first and foremost is if you didn't want to have the gun or welding torch, wherever that is, inside the jail cell, you can see there's a peg and you can just put it in there. And if you want to store Kranix, like you can see here, then that works too, and it all just fits all nice in there. Now, the one thing I was just talking about is this thing right here, which I will pop up a screen cap of whenever this Quintesson actually used that. So it is modeled to look like a gun, but I guess it could also be used, like in that episode, as a way to, you know, torch and fix up damaged robots if you want to use it like that. So would it be a Quintesson, a true Quintesson, if it couldn't do the head cranium thing, you know, like that, where it turns its face? Now, one thing I do want to bring out is this over here, his mouth moves. You can see over here, Andy Serkis's mouth moves. Over here, Wrath, his mouth moves. But whenever you turn it to Glenn Close and Confucius over here, their mouths do not move. Now, if you notice, I wasn't turning this gear all the way, because when you do, it does the full random head spin turning thing. So anyway, you know, I just love the fact that we have a Quintesson that can do that. Of course, this face right here, you know, as the judge, it's the most famous one of his faces, and I definitely dig that. So we take a look at the last figure and his twin. The funny thing about twins, though, is they're not always identical. They can be pretty close looking, but as in the case of Transformers, you remold a few things, repaint it, and here you go. Which small little difference just right to start off with it is Allicon has a painted tongue and the Baliff does not. So aside from that little bit of a difference, what else do we see? Obviously, I think the shoulder Pauldrons are the biggest giveaway because you've got like this, you know, little short spike thing going on with him. Whereas him, he goes quite a bit extra because, I don't know, maybe the Baliffs are just like upgraded forms of Allicons. Like, I've never looked into the fiction of like if that's the case, but maybe it is. You know, obviously besides that, we can look on the top, you can start to see some of the molding differences there. He has like a spike, and that's to accommodate his robot mode head, which if you've seen the pictures, this guy has a different one, so they were able to kind of change that. And I think pretty much everything else is the same as far as beast mode goes. Now, like the Baliff, I don't think we ever saw him transform, but like I love the Allicon mold. It just, I think there's just something really cool about like a gladiator gator from space. I don't know, I really do dig their beast modes. Oh, and these boys actually look pretty good together. But this is the only figure out of this entire set, aside from like, you know, the aforementioned set pieces, that you couldn't get independently. Now, because he is so heavily based on this guy, that if you wanted him to have, you know, his butt cutlass, or, I mean, it's actually from his tail, not his rear end, but, yeah, his buttless here, you can do that, because, again, it comes from this guy. One thing that is different is I'm getting, like, serious Gamorrean guard energy off of this, because with this guy's green, it don't match, but, like, this olive green that this guy's rocking, especially with the weapon that he's, you know, holding here. Now, the one thing that you will notice, we mentioned the shoulder Pauldrons, and we did mention the head. But another thing that is a little bit interesting is the chest is also different. So if you look at this guy, and you look at there, the chest is remolded. Now these pieces over here on the sides, those are actually the same. And I mean, just look at the mouth on that thing, and the overall head. I am digging that. I just realized I didn't swap his arms around, so Yeah, technically, shouldn't it be this way in robot mode? One last thing before we move on, guys, is that because the Allicons are so incredibly posable, it's kind of scary how awesome they are. You could actually put them in some really cool scenes. And so here we go, guys. Finally, everything is together. And I mean, like I said at the outset, this is very Studio Series. But I mean, I think whether these figures independently are like weak or if they're strong, definitely when you bring it all together, it looks really good. And I am just absolutely digging it. That has been the look at the Deseeus Drone, the Allicon, and the Quintesson Pit of Judgment set. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.
Sharkticons, execute them! Me Grimlock say execute them!
I think the problems on this planet will be solved very shortly.